Hello, this is Rachel Knox's key assignment final project presentation and HR compliance basics training for supervisors for Central Oregon Community College. Thank you to the President and Senior Leadership Team at COCC for taking the time to consider this proposal for compliance training for COCC supervisors. This training is designed to mitigate liability and risk related to employee leave and benefits laws, both state and federal, and COCC policies and procedures. In addition to these key considerations, it's important to consider the impact on staff caused by confusion, lack of confidence, and error related to successfully communicating and managing leave issues. This causes lost time and productivity, as well as stress for all employees, supervisors, and their direct reports. While mandatory compliance is the most obvious need for this training, it is only one essential component when analyzing its necessity. Supervisory leadership at the faculty level changes constantly. Faculty department chairs serve on a rotating basis and have supervisory roles. The college has not been consistent in training supervisors on the complicated and ever-changing issues related to compliance. Staff and faculty supervisors and the Human Resources Department experience frustration when navigating individual leave requests and requirements because of inconsistent knowledge and understanding. The root causes of the need for this training are both internal and external. Internally, the college has undergone significant personnel changes over the past decade, unprecedented enrollment growth from 2009 through 2012, coupled with unstable staffing in the Human Resources Department up to January 2022, resulted in a significant workload for HR while the department was understaffed. Consequently, new and current employees have not been receiving the necessary training as the college grew. During 2020 and 2021, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated the issue as compliance became more complicated and communication with employees working remotely was less efficient and clear. The population for this training will be participants who work at 4 different campuses across the 10,000 square mile service district, including members of faculty, administrative, and classified supervisory staff. Their experience as supervisors is varied, and emerging leaders will be part of the group. Age range will be between 20 and 60 years old, will include all genders, but predominantly our supervisory staff is female. 99% of our staff are native English speakers. We'll be training 75 supervisors of varied educational levels, as well as leadership and supervisory styles. Participant motivation for engaging in compliance training is often low. Staff will need to be out of the office for this training, so there's a budget impact. Objectives for the training will connect to annual supervisor performance evaluations, and ongoing evaluation and skills assessments will take place. This is key to note because this is a population that has existing performance evaluation opportunities that we will tap into. Participants often engage with compliance issues sporadically on an as-needed basis, so we need to make sure that this is designed for participants to retrieve information when it's needed. This compliance basics training for supervisors includes 4 hours of content, and the course is implemented over 5.5 hours to allow for breaks and lunch. The course will be delivered in person primarily, but participants will also have access to course resources and materials via the Canvas learning management system. Because we're delivering this to 75 participants and room use is limited to 32 maximum participants, we'll have to have at least 2 and likely 3 individual sessions to cover all work groups and accommodate different schedules. We have a lot of detail here on the layout of the class and what we'll be using. This is all within normal parameters for COCC classrooms. These are the course objectives, and they utilize an audience, behavior, condition, and degree format. So if we take our terminal objective, that is the overarching objective for which the other 4 objectives will feed up into. You can hear the behavior, the audience, the condition, and degree in there. So given a presentation, slides, job aids, and compliance resources, as well as small group discussion. So those are the conditions. The audience, which is the HR compliance basic supervisor participant, should be able to guide a colleague through leave reporting and tracking for 6 different types of leave. So that's the behavior. And the degree, they will complete all required steps. We're going to look at these objectives a couple more times in a couple of different ways. We will examine them in detail in slide 10 and how they relate to the stages and the program components. The program structure or instructional principles is related to andragogical principles. This is a training for a group of adult learners, and these andragogical principles inform the design of the course. So all of the learning activities relate to one of these principles that are listed here. And I want to call out number 5 specifically. So with adults, their orientation to learning is important, and the orientation in this class is very task-oriented. So the content of this course requires an attention to detail for tasks, and so that's key to how this program is designed. The program structure or instructional model utilizes Gagne's 9 events of instruction, and it provides the structure within which the andragogical principles can be applied for coherence and progression. The 9 events that are listed here relate to key learning activities, and they will be performed in the order that they're listed, but some may recur for reinforcement or enhancement of learning. So for instance, when we look at eliciting performance and providing feedback and assessing performance, we may double back on some of those and elicit performance again, provide additional feedback, assess performance again. Here we are again at the course objectives. And again, we look at these repeatedly because of the way that they connect to the learning activities as well as the evaluation that's coming up. The 4 E-labeled objectives are enabling objectives that build toward the top or terminal objective. All learning activities are designed in connection to the learning objectives, meaning that the learning activities must support the achievement of the objectives. The learning activities by stages. So stage 1 and stage 4 are actually online, where stage 2 and 3 are part of that 4-hour content or 5.5-hour live session. The learning activities are, again, specific, related to Gagne's 9 events, and also taking into account all those andragogical principles to make sure that we are meeting our adult learners where they are to make this the most impactful training that we possibly can. We're going to evaluate this training utilizing the 4 levels of the Kirkpatrick model. And the 4 levels really look at different ways that people learn, and they get deeper and deeper from level 1 to level 4. So level 1 is reaction, and we are going to be gauging reaction by using exit tickets and surveys. In addition, during the class, we'll be evaluating the facilitators will be evaluating by questioning and observing the participants in their small groups, as well as during sharing times during the larger groups. That's level 1. That is the reaction level. Beyond level 1, we start looking at the learning level, and we're evaluating knowledge, skill, and attitude. And then in level 3, we're starting to look at behavior change. And then in level 4, we're looking at results, and the results start to circle back to those identified needs that we assessed before we started this training. So as we look at the evaluation plan by objective, all 5 of the listed objectives, the 4 evaluative and the, the 4 enabling and the 1 terminal objective can be evaluated at level 1 and level 2. When we get to level 3 and we're evaluating behavior, we can evaluate level 3 and level 4 because we have outcomes, we are completing a case study, and we are completing a checklist that will be used. And then certainly the T1, the terminal objective, can be evaluated at all levels, as well as level 3 and level 4. That level 4 is key because that's where we can start to work with the managers, directors, deans, and vice presidents who will include an evaluation of their direct reports, the supervisors who direct report to them, about compliance behaviors as part of their annual performance evaluation process. We'll also include this on 360-degree peer reviews. And we can also evaluate this from an organizational level by looking at, are we complying? Are we having any audits from any of our state or federal agencies, which we hope not? Are we keeping all the correct documentation? Are we compliant in every layer? And we'll be able to manage the effectiveness of this training using those outcomes. Additional considerations include testing of assumptions. So before we deliver this training or implement this training, we want to test some assumptions that were utilized for this project in the needs assessment. The design intent is to build a robust model using best practices, proven frameworks, and stable structures that can withstand changes, because additional training courses will be added, creating a larger modularized organizational training and development program, and we need a framework from the beginning. We will also be re-evaluating, redesigning, adding new rigor and iterations, and we need a stable framework in which to do that. These are the references that I used in creating this program. And these are the credits for the photos that were used in this presentation. Thank you again for your time and attention, and I welcome your questions about this program.